Hello and welcome to Narayana IAS. I am Pratik, your faculty for daily news analysis. Now students, in today's DNA session, we will be focusing on three most important topics from the Hindu and the Indian Express. So let's have a quick brief about the topics that we shall be discussing in today's session. The first topic, I think the topics mentioned here are incorrect. However, let me just give you a brief about the three topics that we shall be discussing. The first topic we are going to understand about the textile sector. We are going to understand about the textile sector. Okay, just a minute. Let me just textile sector. So in this article, we are going to understand certain challenges that the textile industry of our country is going through or facing, and what can be done in order to reform the textile sector of our country. This is the first topic that we shall be discussing. The second topic that we shall be discussing is about the Dadasaheb Phalke Award. Right? So we'll understand the importance of this particular award and the benefits accruing to the recipients of this particular award. The third article that we shall be discussing is the Government of India steps to relax the eligibility criteria for AI mission. So this is the Government of India's mission, and in order for more companies to be a part of AI mission, the government has relaxed eligibility criteria. So these are the three topics that we shall be discussing in today's DNA session. So let's begin with the first topic, that is, why is the textile industry struggling to perform better? This is the first topic. Now in this article, we are going to understand about the textile industry. And you can map this under GS paper 3 Indian economy. Why? Because under Indian economy, the key term is issues relating to planning, mobilization of resources. Why? For the growth and development of our country. So it falls under GS paper 3 economy. Now, a previous question was asked with respect to the sugar sector. What is the question? Do you agree that there is a growing trend of opening new sugar mills in the southern part of the country? Discuss with justification. So you have to discuss this particular question with justification. Also the factors for highly decentralized cotton textile industry in India. So there was a question asked in the year 2013 about a particular sector, not about the entire economy, but about a particular sector. That's the reason this topic becomes extremely important. What is the context? The context is that the GDP or the textile sector, it contributes 2.3% to India's GDP and it employs 105 million people. This is the contribution of the textile sector. Given the unemployment of our country, this number 105 million is a big number. That's the reason we have to focus on the growth of the textile sector. However, in the recent 2 to 3 years, a slump, that is decline, has been observed in the textile sector. Why? Because of the geopolitical issues. Now we'll understand more about this term and also this term in the next slides, which means all you need to understand is that in or onwards 2022, this sector has observed a decline. Tamil Nadu is a textile hub and it has seen 500 mills being closed. This is how this sector has been badly affected. Why? What are the reasons? Changing consumer demands. For example, people are preferring multi-brands, right? Rising competition from imports. So the imported cotton is cheaper or imported garment is cheaper than the domestically manufactured garment. and growing need for sustainable practices, one that conforms the environmental standards. And that's the reason reforms in this sector is extremely must. I hope you understood the context. Now let us try to understand about the textile sector of our country. This industry is a key pillar in the country's economic and the social fabric. Why? See, this sector, it is one of the oldest industries. Why? Because there's a link of agriculture sector with this textile sector. See, characterized by linkages to the agriculture sector, which means the agriculturally produced goods are linked to the textile sector. For example, cotton. It is linked directly to the textile sector, which means you can say that the agriculture sector, or for that matter the textile sector, is dependent on the agriculture sector. Why? Because of the linkage. One of the oldest sectors of our country. India is a leading player in the global textile market. Why? Because the presence of the Indian textile sector, it spans the entire value chain. What is value chain? See, this is value chain. This is A and this is B. For example, this is the raw material and this is the finished product. Let's say for example a cotton shirt. Cotton is the raw material. There are many processes that this cotton raw material goes through before the shirt is finally manufactured. So this entire value chain from raw material until the finished product. So India has the presence of this entire supply chain from raw material until the finished product. In the year 2021, the Indian textile industry was 153 billion worth. This is 2021. But after 2021, it suffered a decline. See, despite its immense potential, it faced significant challenge, especially from the year 2022 and 2023 onwards. There are few reasons behind the decline. We'll discuss this one by one. So here you need to understand that it is one of the oldest industry. At the same time, it is a key pillar to our India's economic growth. I hope you understood the meaning of value chain. Value chain is A to B or A to the final product. The processes that the raw material has to go through is nothing but value chain. So these are the major textile hubs of our country. For example, we have Uttar Pradesh, then we have Tamil Nadu, we have Karnataka, Maharashtra, right? So these are, you can mention few examples in the answer if a question is asked, right? So these are the major players in the textile sector of our country. Now let us try to understand the significance of the textile sector. One, employment generation. It generates employment. Any sector that generates employment is very important for our country. For example, it generates around 105 million jobs, right? So after agriculture, this is the second largest employer of our country. It provides livelihood to close to 105 million people. It contributes around, this is something that we discussed, 2.3% to our national GDP. And when it comes to GVA, gross value addition, 10% is the contribution of this particular sector. Then it is the third largest textile exporter globally. This is the significance of the textile sector of our country. The exports amount to 43.4 billion. And in the global share, India's export contribution is 5.4. Then the industry is crucial for rural development. Why? Because at the rural areas, there are many people who are employed in the, let's say, in the MSME sector, micro, small and medium enterprises, and these MSMEs, they play a prominent role in the textile sector of our country, right? So this is something that you need to understand and remember and produce in the answer paper. Then this industry aims to achieve a total business of 350 billion by 2030, creating around 3.5 crore jobs. This is the policy ambition. I hope you understood the significance of the textile sector of our country, right? So see students, these data and facts that I just mentioned, all these data and facts is important to remember because you can use this data and fact in the answers. The more data and facts you mention, the more marks you will fetch. So always have this habit of mentioning data wherever possible, right? Now, let us try to understand the key segments of the textile industry. When we say textile industry, what all does this textile industry entail or involve? The first is the cotton textiles. Cotton textile, it is the largest producer of cotton globally, with cotton textiles making up to major portion of the sector. It accounts for around 50% of the overall textile industry. Next is the man-made fibers. So this segment includes synthetic fibers. I hope you all must be using synthetic clothes, right? Such as polyester, nylon and viscose. It contributes about 35% of the total textile production. Though these numbers are not important, you need to know the data about the textile sector, not individual segments, but you need to know which are the important segments in the textile sector. For example, we have cotton, then we have man-made fabric like the synthetic fibers, then we have apparel and the garment industry. Now, this segment is a major exporter and includes ready-made garments for men, women and children. This sector, it generates employment largely. Technical textiles. Now this sector caters to industrial users such as healthcare, automotive and construction. Then home textiles includes bed linen, towels and curtains. So these are the segments under the textile sector of our country. So when it comes to segments, you just have to remember these segments, like we have cotton, we have man-made fiber, then apparel and garment industry, technical, textile, etc. That's it, more than sufficient. Now let us try to understand the challenges that the textile sector of our country is facing. Now, in the year 2023, exports were hit by geopolitical tensions. This term we actually read in the context. I told you in the context that I'll be explaining you in the next few slides. Now I'll explain. Exports were hit by geopolitical tensions. For example, let's assume that India exports garments to Ukraine. Now we know that Russia and Ukraine are fighting a war since almost 2 years now. Now, what do you think? Would Ukraine invest money in buying defense equipments or would buy clothes? Their immediate need is to invest or use money to buy ammunitions, arms and ammunition so that it can fight against Russia. Now, because of these geopolitical tensions, the exports are getting hit, which means let's assume that Ukraine is one of the buyers of Indian textile garments or textile clothes. Now, Ukraine is not buying it. Why? Because of the geopolitical tension. Let's say Israel also buys our apparel. Again, because of the ongoing war between Israel and, let's say, Lebanon, or for that matter Hamas, they are not in a position to buy. That's the reason the exports are getting hit, because of the geopolitical tension. Slowdown in global demand. So if Ukraine is fighting a war, Ukraine would not demand for garments or apparel. This resulted in a 40% drop in business for some key clusters in Tirupur. Now we discussed in the context that in Tamil Nadu, right, 500 mills were closed. This is one example. Prices of cotton and man-made fabric surged in the year 22-23 because of this 10% import duty. What does it mean? Now see, let's say this is a manufacturing industry. It manufactures clothes, ready-made clothes. Now this industry requires cotton as a raw material. This industry has domestic cotton and international cotton. Now this industry will see from where I am getting cheaper cotton. Let's say this industry is getting cheaper cotton from international market, because of which majority of the industries are buying cotton from the international market, because of which the domestic cotton is not getting sold. So what the government does is, in order to make the industries buy domestic cotton, the government imposes import duty on this international cotton. Let's say this domestic cotton is of, let's say, 100 rupees and this is of, let's say, 80 rupees. Now the government imposes an import duty, thereby the cost of this international cotton comes out to be 110, getting costly. Now let's say because of the rainfall issues, or let's say because of certain issues, the crops of cotton get damaged because of, let's say, pests. Now here again, because of a shortage of cotton in the market, the prices increase. This is economic concept, demand and supply. So if the supply is less, the prices increase. So you might have heard that the prices of cotton, onions have increased. When do they increase? When there is a shortage of cotton or shortage of tomato and onions in the market, the prices increase. So because of the failed cotton crop, the prices increase. That's the reason the industries have to bear the burden of increased raw material. So again, for example, let's say now because of this expensive raw material, what happens is this industry, right? Let's say makes a shirt or used to make a shirt for, let's say, 500 rupees. Now because of the increased cost, they have to increase the price to, let's say, 700. But then the customers have a imported ready-made garment at, let's say, 300 rupees. So the customers like us would buy this 300 rupee worth shirt, would not buy this 700 rupees worth shirt. Because of which this industry faces loss. Why? Because no one is buying their product. No one is buying their product. Which means now this industry will be forced to release people, remove people from the jobs. This creates a problem. This is another problem. Supply chain disruptions, the MSMEs, I told you, contributes heavily in the textile sector. 80% face challenge in sourcing raw materials and managing production. Why? Because of the fluctuating prices and inconsistent availability. MSME industry, right? Because of the geopolitical tension, has no cotton, and even if the cotton is available, it is very expensive. So they are facing problems with respect to production. This the example that I gave. I hope you understood the problem, understood the challenge. Sustainability pressures. Now the global brands, the international brands are fast tracking the adoption of environment, social and governance standards, which means the international brands are adopting environmentally sustainable practices for the production, because of which the Indian companies or Indian industries are getting sidelined. So there is also pressure on a country to cut the emissions of greenhouse gases. Then changing consumer preferences. For example, whenever we visit e-commerce website, we do not see which product is Indian made and which product is foreign made. What we see, the cost and the, let's say, the design of that cloth. Based on our convenience and our affordability, we buy. For example, as of now, People are getting attracted to more and more athleisure and comfort wear. No one wears kurta and pajama today, right? The men, women, boys, girls, they wear comfort clothes, and these clothes are mostly associated with the Western clothes or Western countries. So this is change or changing consumer preference. Then now, this is also important to mention the answer. You know the challenges. What has the government done? The government must have done something. What? This. First is the production linked incentive PLI scheme. Now students, the purpose of PLI scheme is to incentivize the industries to invest in the domestic manufacturing capacity. Which means, let's say for example, I am the owner of the industry. The government will say, I will give incentive, but for that you have to invest money in the manufacturing capacity. For example, you might invest in technology, right? Or maybe you might invest in the capability, right? Or let's say you are actually skilling your employees so that the production increases. So here the government is saying that we will give incentive, but for that you have to make sure that the things are produced or manufactured in our country and you are investing in the capability. Boosting domestic manufacturing, right? And this is the budget that the government has sanctioned. The second one is the remission of duties and taxes on export products. In short, it means that, let's say for example, let's say this shirt is for, let's say, 100 rupees. Now the MSME company wants to export it to, let's say, Sri Lanka. Now because of the duties and taxes, the ultimate burden on the company is, let's say, 120 rupees. Now the government says, okay fine, we will give you back the taxes and duties on the export products, which means the company is paying 120 rupees, but in return the company now is getting 20 rupees from the government, which means here they are saving money. The expenditure is less, which means the export competitiveness will increase. This is the second solution. Third is, we will develop mega investment parks. Mitra parks, 7 textile parks will be developed, and this park will have world-class infrastructure. Having world-class infrastructure, which means it will attract the best talent and best company and best investment. Having the textile park, right? It will also no doubt increase jobs. Then financial support is provided for upgrading technology, which means, as I told you, in the PLI scheme, the government says, okay, I will provide you financial support, but for that you need to make sure that you invest in technology, because any company who refrains from using technology will be dumped, will be thrashed. So you have to leverage technology. You have to make sure that you use technology and save the production cost. Skill development. Again, it is very important to train the workforce, the workers. Right? Simple. If you train the workforce, these workforce or these workers will be in a position or their capability enhances, which means there will be more production, more output, more profit, more revenue to the government. So this is what the government of India has taken initiatives to help the textile sector. Way forward, the challenges that we discuss, all the points you have to write in way forward. For example, technological advancement, which means every company has to leverage the potential of technology, that is automation, digitization and advanced machinery, which will increase the productivity. For example, let's say the people who make the content, right? So initially, to prepare the content of one subject, you required, let's say, 10 people. Now using Chat GPT, Instead of 10 people, you need just 3 people, or let's say 5 people. So the salary of these 5 people would be, or you'll save the salaries of 5 people. Use technology so that productivity increases. Next, raw materials accessibility. There is a necessity to ensure availability of raw materials, which means here the government can think of reducing or slashing the 10% import duty. The agenda is, or the objective is, the raw materials should be made available to the companies at a cheaper rate, so that the production cost decreases and the output increases. Next, sustainability and environment social governance standards. Again, the industry must comply, that is invest in green technologies, right? Which means the practices to produce should be sustainable, environment friendly, that is reduction of greenhouse gases. Boosting the MSME sector, that is the government has to make sure that they support the MSME sector. How? By helping the MSME sector with funds, so that this MSME sector will invest in the human capital, workforce, training, technology, so that production increases. And then we discuss about infrastructure, that is Mitra Park, right? So this is all about the textile sector of our country. So what did we discuss? We discussed what is the textile sector of our country. Then we discussed the major players. Then we discuss the key segments in the Indian textile sector, right? Then we discuss the challenges that the textile sector of our country is facing. Then we discuss the initiatives taken by the government to help the textile sector, followed by way forward. And then we also discuss certain data or facts related to the textile sector. I hope you have understood the first topic on the textile sector in India. Students, now let us focus on the second topic. What is the second topic? See, here you see actor Sharmila Tagore is greeting Mithun Chakrabarti. Why? Because this Mithun Chakrabarti has won the famous Dadasaheb Phalke award. This is the prestigious award, right? This is the prestigious award who contribute to the growth and development of the Indian cinema, not Bollywood. Indian cinema is the key word. So here we'll understand about the Dadasaheb Phalke Award and the National Film Award. Again, you can mark this under Prelims, Arts and Culture. So, see, this was a question asked in the year 2021 on Bharat Ratna and the Padma Award. Now, what is the context? That the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has decided that the Dadasaheb Phalke Award for the year 2022 will be bestowed upon Mithun Chakraborty. Why? For his contribution to the Indian cinema and not the Bollywood, or let's say the Mumbai cinema. Now, this award is the highest honor in Indian cinema. It's a award that brings prestige and honor. This award instituted or started in the year 1969 to acknowledge the contribution of an individual to take the Indian cinema forward. First recipient was Devika Rani. She is referred to as First Lady of Indian Cinema. See, these days UPSC is also asking certain factual questions. So this award is in the news. So you're expected to remember this name, or who was referred to as the First Lady of the Indian Cinema. So factual questions, yes, has also become very, very important in the UPSC examination. Now the one who actually gets the award, he gets a Swarna Kamal, that is golden lotus, cash price of 10 lakh now increased to 15 lakhs, and a certificate, a silk roll, and a shawl. Most importantly, it is important to remember that it is conferred by the President of India and not by the Prime Minister or any minister. Now see, talking about Dadasaheb Phalke. Dadasaheb Phalke actually made a big contribution, or the Indian cinema that we see is because of Dadasaheb Phalke. He was the one who learned how to make an Indian cinema, that is motion picture, abroad. Then he could have worked abroad and earned a lot of money. But instead, he came to India and brought motion pictures in our country. He had to sell everything he had, ornaments, house, everything, to bring into light or effect the motion picture. So the Indian cinema, whatever the Indian cinema has achieved, it owes largely to Dadasaheb Phalke. Very important personality. And his first feature film, the first film that he prepared or he produced, directed, was Raja Harishchandra. Everyone knows about this famous Raja Harishchandra movie, isn't it? So it is important to remember these certain facts. Now let's understand about the National Film Awards. Now this is the most prestigious recognitions for excellence in the Indian cinema. It was established in the year 1954. They honor various aspects of filmmaking. See, Dadasaheb Phalke Award, it is given to individuals who uh, have made big contributions to the Indian cinema. But this, it actually awards various aspects of filmmaking, from acting to technical contributions. For example, recently, this National Film Award, it underwent significant changes based on the recommendations of the committee set up by this ministry. Now, which are these changes? Let us understand one by one. First, initially, the best debut film of director, its former name was the Indira Gandhi Award for Best Debut Film. Its name is changed to Best Debut Film of a Director. Second, Nargis Dutt Award. This name was changed to Best Feature Film Promoting National, Social and Environmental Values. Very important facts for you to remember for your examination. As we discussed, the award money for Dadasaheb Phalke was increased from 10 to 15 lakhs. And then winners will get Swarna Kamal, and then Rajat Kamal is for the Silver Lotus, or the people who get Rajat Kamal, they get 2 lakh across various categories. So let us understand. As I told you, the Swarna Kamal, Golden Lotus, is awarded in categories such as Best Film, Best Debut Film, Best Direction, Best Film Providing Wholesome Entertainment, and Best Children's Film. This is the Swarna Kamal, Golden Lotus. Rajat Kamal, Silver, is awarded in categories like Best Feature Film Promoting National, Social and Environmental Values, Best Actor, Actresses, Best Screenplay, Best Music and other specialized categories. So please remember these facts, very important for the UPSC examination. It's nothing, it's self-explanatory, right? And category modifications, the awards for Best Animation Film and Best Special Effects have been merged. Now these two have been merged and has given a new name, Best AVGC Film, that is Animation, Visual Effects and Gaming and Comics. Then Best Audiography has been renamed as Best Sound Design. So these are all factual information, nothing much to explain. Which means this National Film Award, it reflects India's diverse and evolving cinematic landscape, right? It promotes excellence across a wide range of categories. It represents the evolving cinematic landscape of our country. So Dadasaheb Phalke Award and the National Film Award are very, very important. Dadasaheb Phalke Award for the one who has contributed heavily to the Indian cinema. And then with respect to National Film Award, it awards in various categories, right? Various aspects of film making, direction, production, sound, many aspects. So I hope you understood the second article. Now let us understand the third article. To accommodate startups, what is METI? Ministry of Electronics and Information Communication Technology. It relaxes AI compute procurement norms. This is the uh, title, and here in this article we are going to understand about the India AI mission. India AI mission, and this is important for both prelims as well as mains. In mains, we have a topic government policies and interventions in various sectors, right? So again, this can also be a part of economy, right? Now, this was a question asked in the year 2020. With the present state of development, artificial intelligence can effectively do which of the following, right? So, as artificial intelligence has become a norm and has come into day-to-day practice, expect a question on artificial intelligence in the examination. Now, what is the context? That there is a mission of the government of India in the name AI mission. Now, in order for more startups to be a part of AI mission, in order for more companies to be a part of AI mission, the government has relaxed eligibility criteria, which means the government has reduced the criteria so that more and more startups can be a part of AI mission. So let us understand what is AI mission. This number is not important. 10,000 is not important. This AI mission is a comprehensive mission launched by the government of India to position India as a global leader in artificial intelligence, which means the government of India wants India to be a global player, a major player in artificial intelligence. And which are the features under this mission? One, in order to be a global player, you need to have that infrastructure. That is, first is establishing AI infrastructure with 10,000 graphics processing units. Right? This is a basic component to develop artificial intelligence. So, in order to grow, right, you need infrastructure. Right? For example, in order to attract investments, or for that matter, in order to attract tourists, we need infrastructure. So, similarly, to make India a global player in AI, we need investment, or we need infrastructure, and this will be done through public private partnership. That is, the government of India as well as the private players both would invest. The next, developing large multi-modal models. What is this? For example, let's say chat GPT. Now, if you feed any command in chat GPT, it will answer you questions related to, let's say, technology, infrastructure, science and technology, geography, history, arts and culture, ethics, arts and culture, then film, movies, songs. This is large multi-modal module. So this infrastructure will help to develop large multimodal module and domain specific foundational models. Domain specific, for example, health, education, agriculture, which means these models, domain specific models, would only cater to that sector's demand, healthcare sector's demand, education's demand. So large model as well as domain specific model. Then it expands AI education and skill programs to tier 2 and tier 3 cities, which means the tier 2 and tier 3 cities where significant population is existing, so the government extends or plans to also expand AI education to these cities. Then ensuring ethical AI development. Ethical AI development, what does it mean? We are developing a technology, but if this technology is used for, let's say, harmful things, then this is not good for the society. So the technology that we develop should be used for the growth of the society. For example, let's say what China does is they uses facial recognition, right? They uses facial recognition software to unlock the mobile screen, as well they uses facial recognition to actually segregate the Uyghur Muslims. So this is how China is using unethical means of this technology. So the point objective is that the artificial intelligence should be used for ethical purpose, that is for the good of the society, and not which can harm the society or sections of the society, like the way China is unethically using technology to target the enemies. Now, what is the reduction or relaxation of criteria that the government of India has given? For example, with respect to primary bidders and non-primary bidders. Who are the primary bidders? The big companies like TCS. Who are the non-primary bidders? The small companies or the startups. For example, let's say Infosys. When it comes to bidding, Infosys has a huge capital. They can bid for the entire healthcare sector or entire agriculture sector. That's the money that they have. So here the government have categorized primary bidders and secondary bidders, which means they have reduced the amount from 100 crores to 50 crores for primary bidders, and for non-primary bidders the amount is 25 crore, which means if you have this capital, you can bid for let's say for the services of that matter, to avail the license to work in that particular sector. Now the companies must now submit records of past AI service performance, which means in order to bid, apart from the capital, you also need to show that yes, my company has an experience of working in this sector. Next, cloud service providers must ensure data remains within India's borders. Let's say for example, a company, a startup, or let's say a major company is working in the healthcare sector. So here the government says that those who are working in the healthcare sector and have the data of the Indian people, make sure that the data is stored in our country and is not exported to the foreign country. Right? And last, this mission has a public as well as private component, which means half 50% the government of India contributes and 50% funding is done by the private companies. So these are the new norms that the government of India has brought in order for more and more startups to be a part of the artificial intelligence mission, thereby making India a global player in the artificial intelligence. This is the third topic. I hope students you have understood each and every topic that we have discussed, right from the textile sector to Dadasaheb Phalke award to the artificial intelligence mission. Now students, it is time that we discuss few questions so that you understand if you understood the topics that we have discussed today. The first one is regarding India's AI mission, the topic that we just discussed. The mission follows a public-private partnership model with the government funding 50% of the project. Yes, this is what we discussed, that this mission will have both private as well as public funding, that is PPP model, public-private partnership. Companies offering AI services must ensure that data remains within India. Yes, and this one is correct, which means now here students, I want you to pause the video, right? Pause the video and please I request to comment the answers in the comment box. This is my request. So here the correct answer is option C. Now again, I want you to pause this video. Please go through the question and try to comment the answer in the comment box. Dadasaheb Phalke Award, highest honor in Indian cinema, first awarded to Devika Rani. Yes. Second, the award includes a cash prize of 10 lakh, a certificate, a shawl, and a Swarna Kamal. Right? Now, this actually prize, the amount was increased from 10 lakh to 15 lakhs. This Dadasaheb Phalke Award is presented by the Prime Minister of India. Incorrect. It is presented by the President. Right? So, here again, if you see, only the first statement is correct. So, okay, it seems that this should be only one only, which means option A is a correct answer. If we change the first option, here only statement number 1 is correct. Now, mains practice question. The Indian textile sector has faced significant challenges in recent years, despite being a major contributor to the economy. Analyze the reasons behind the recent slump in the Indian textile industry and suggest measures for its revival. Students, we have discussed the first chapter. Now, I want you to write the answer by your own. Write down the points that you may think of. Of course, we'll discuss the answer of this question. But I want you to pause the video and try to recollect as many points as possible and write your own answer. I know it's gonna be tough. I know you might be a bit hesitant. You might be, why shall I write? It's okay, sir is going to discuss the answer. So let's wait for source discussion. Please note, this is not going to help you in your UPSC examination. I request those who want to clear the examination, please. It's okay if you are able to write only 5 points. It's okay if you're able to write 2 points. That's it. But please write, because when you write, you think. And when you develop this continuous habit of thinking and writing over a long time, this will help you immensely in your mains answer. So let us discuss the answer. What is the answer? In the answer, you mention in the introduction that it is one of the oldest and largest sector. Why? Because it is directly linked to the, or directly linked with the agriculture sector, and it is also important. Why? Because it generates employment to 195 million people. However, in the recent few years, this sector has witnessed a significant drop. This is what you mentioned in the introduction. Now, in the body, you mention the reasons for the slump. You mention why there is a decline in the exports. For example, the geopolitical tensions, reduced demand, right? Then high raw materials cost because of the 10% import duty on the cotton, policy barriers, the quality control mechanism that the recipient country imposes, changing consumer preference. For example, they shift towards e-commerce. We prefer to visit malls where we have clothing or clothes of multiple brands, different brands. So there is changing consumer preference. And then you should mention the solution that we need to take. See, these are the points that we already have discussed. What is the solution, or what steps the government of India has taken? The production linked incentive, then remission of the export duty, right? Okay, so here they have directly mentioned what are the measures taken or should the government of India take for the revival. In short, before this point, you can also mention the steps the government of India has taken, right? The PLI scheme, etc. Then in future, the government has to make sure that they reduce the import duties so that the raw material available is at a cheaper cost. Then investment in technology and skilling, sustainability focus, providing access to funds to the MSME and the startups, right? At the same time, you can also mention that the government of India has to invest in the investment, or for that matter, the textile parks, Mitra scheme. This is what you can mention. And then finally, in the conclusion, you can mention that given the importance of textile sector to our country, it is important that the government of India addresses the challenges that the sector is facing and make sure that the sector continues to contribute to the economy or growing economy of our country. This is how you conclude the answer. I hope you know or understood the way you need to write the mains answer. If possible, you can also write down the answer on a page and then make sure that you comment the answer in the comment box. Paste the answer in the comment box. I don't want you to type. You write it on a piece of paper and then you click the photo and then comment in the comment box. Right? So students, that's it from today's DNA session. Right? Make sure that you are consistent with DNA videos. The question paper that we have discussed, the analysis of the mains paper, has shown you that or has made you realize and understand that it is very important to stay to be in touch with the current affairs. Why? Because majority of the questions, even the static questions, have a current affairs touch. So make sure that you are serious, you are consistent, and over a period of time you develop or have a holistic command over the topics. Right? So that's it for today's DNA session. Thank you so much. Before we wind up this session, I request you to please like, subscribe and share the DNA videos as much as possible. Thank you students. Thank you so much.